this has been, this is a long-term chart, and this is 2026. We go back, to July, we've been in this wedge. So I'm not looking for it tomorrow. It could last for a while, but when it does, it will have big implications. Treasuries, we got a relief rally here. That's taking some of the pressure off. I talk about pressure on equities. Equities were a little weak when we were sliding down, a little, I emphasize. The relief rally here, we are coming here. This is an inflection point, in my opinion. Because of the tech problems, I'm not able to monkey with it and give you a longer term chart. This is 30 minutes, and it takes us back about a month. The longer term, it looks similar. This is an area it's been in for a while. We broke below it. Now we're trying to push back in. If we push back in and accept, then this is just a one-off and forget about it. This certainly, it's a level that it could roll over from. This could be a little bit of a difficult area, and I'll be watching that early this week. Yields, as I say, just monitor, obviously correlated to prices, and looking perky, but not making the move yet. Again, overall bullish, but extended. Sideways chop to digest the move is the baseline expectation, and that's been the baseline expectation ever since about here, and we just keep pushing higher. It's just absolutely relentless. So it really is something to see in the face of all this news we've got. Consolidation at the highs would be healthy. Absolutely. These are, I really like these. They're different views, but obviously the same stocks, just 1,000 value and the 1,000 growth. These both look great. This is something that kept me intact when some people were really worried that we were breaking down. This never looked bad. Growth got a little dicey, but wow, did it come back, and it's just pushing relentlessly higher. I keep using that word. This is the exact right thing I think to say here. China is important. It's not that important, but it certainly is important. And this is acting very different than, the US. Down to a pretty important level. Watch it here. If it breaks, there's information there. If it just kind of keeps bouncing around the way it has been, okay. And, it's certainly not a case where, say, if the US sneezes, the world catches a cold. We're not going to see something like that. But this is something to keep on. This is not front burner. This is back burner, but it is something to just keep one eye on. EEM, we talk about it. This is very heavy in South Korea, Taiwan, and semiconductors, so it's not really representative of the emerging markets, but I do think it gives more of a global feel, and it looks good. Breadth, this is fine. That's just what I say. This was a little concerning, but we bounced right back off it, and it just looks fine. This is a long-term metric. As I said last week, equal weighted S&P broke out the preceding week. I'm not concerned about breadth. Yes, this is a fairly narrow market advance, but no, it's not a huge problem. Here you can see, excuse me. Okay, NVIDIA got hit a little bit, but after a pretty good run. And the overall category is still very, very strong. Energy, especially after the announcement from last weekend, we knew that energy was going to get hit, and it did. But we're going to talk about oil in just a minute. Overall, this looks good. Okay. When we got the headlines from a week ago, and we were looking at the market to open, I was throwing out the possibility, I wanted to hold 76 and some things. Yes, this is a key zone, but as you can tell, we can, push through it and do relentlessly. Overall, this looks like a flag. This looks like a pennant. It's consolidating at the highs. It's a huge range. It's very difficult to trade. I have not been trading it for at least a month now. I may well wade back into this pool this week. I'm looking at it. I'm more favorably disposed to Brent, which you can trade the futures on. And this is the BNO ETF. As you can tell, it's held up better than crude, WTI. And the fundamentals, when you understand just the basics of the market, I am far from an energy expert, but I know just enough that Brent is much more exposed on the global market because it's seaborne. And it looks great. And this is a nice pullback. I would use a stop somewhere in here. Push down through it, but this is, you want to see it hold above this level. And that looks pretty favorable. And if some of the things I'm reading come to pass, I just don't see how we don't have another push in crude. This again, okay. The other, I don't know what the right analogy is, but the other thorn in the, I don't know. My analogy is broken. I've been talking change in character. We had this spike up and okay, it pulled in, but just doing this. Whereas in the past, they would really push down sharply. This has been holding in, and now we're pushing through the 50-day. We're starting to resolve higher. It might just consolidate, but this is just further confirmation in my mind that we really have had a change in character. I'm not in this, but I'm favorably disposed. I'm bullish on it, and this, it could be a nice little stop right there, about 280, and it's 315. Yeah, that's not terrible. So, and this, yeah, the U.S. as the swing producer of natural gas could really need to some higher prices to get us producing and get us exporting, I guess. Gold, I did buy this last week. A little bit. What I'm looking for is this to break the 50-day MA, and I really think it has a chance to take off. It just came in here, and it wouldn't even come down to test this support level. So it's a small position. It's a starter position, but I did put a toe in the water here, and I'll be adding if we can break through this 50-day on any kind of volume and follow through. That's what I'm looking for there. Interesting. And yeah, my stop is just going to be right here. It's just a nice tight stop there. Bitcoin, as I say, it's, the volatility is so much more muted than it was over the last couple of years. So I don't pay too much attention to it, but this, much like bonds, the bonds where I referenced, it's got to a level where like you don't want to see it roll over, and you can see the volume up here. It kind of came up, tested that, and just rolled right over. This is not what you want to see if you're a bull. Energy. The one thing I'd highlight is I used to use 5-minute charts here just for history and how I used to use them. I've stretched this out to 30 minutes to try and give a better picture of what's actually going on here. Yes, energy got slapped last week. Overall, they still look pretty bullish. They are coming down towards a support level that I like. Technology, still leadership. And then this is very interesting. Everyone's been talking about Anthropic, particularly putting software companies out of business. Always a little suspicious of that. And of course, I didn't do anything with it, but this is a 10% rip in just a couple of days. And I think there's still room for that to run. It's just money. It's just continually sloshing around in the tech pool trying to find a home. Healthcare firming up, which that's good. This one's been a laggard for some time. I can posit a few reasons, but it's starting to perform a little bit better. Again, consumer firmed up the preceding week after, I guess, TJX, Ross, Target, some big, I don't know if they're bellwethers, but some, national names came out and said the consumer looks pretty good. And we got a pretty strong response out of that. And industrials and financials look pretty good as well. This is my long-term chart. Just shows how extended we are and getting pretty close to wrapping it up. I do want to highlight NASDAQ poking out of a long-term logarithmic chart. That we are extended by any metric, and we're still going higher. Doesn't mean it's over. Just it doesn't spend a lot of time outside of this channel, and the ES doesn't. And that. Stop there. Happy to take any questions if there are any. Sorry about the tech issues, and I don't think we're getting broadcast. So I only think we got a couple people in the room. So sorry about that. T-Bone, thanks for popping in and helping me get started. And I am live. Okay, thanks, Marlon. I missed you. And everything's good with the slides. You can see everything. And if anyone has any questions. All right, very good. Thanks all, and feel free to pop any questions in the room, and I'll get to them a little bit later if so inclined. And have a great weekend. And as I always say, good luck.